say that was the last time? This is probably a good time to go into the injury, perhaps. You're playing Las Vegas, you're playing the Masters, and the career is going pretty good. We're all excited at home watching this Kiwi performing on the world stage, the US Tour. And then what happened?
Yeah, I got away from Augusta, and I was on pretty heavy doses of painkillers at the Masters that week, and I tweaked my back a couple of weeks after I won in Vegas in October of the previous year, ended 2002. Got some treatment over that Christmas period back in New Zealand, and started out the 03 year, with a bit of an injury cloud, to be fair, and then it just started getting worse and worse and worse, and there's no way that I was not going to play the Masters. The Masters Committee don't take kindly upon just kind of putting your hand up and go, hey, can I roll this over to next year? My back's not feeling too flash. And so there's no way I wasn't going to play. And so I just had to try and find a pain medication that would allow me to get through. And I did that. And then there was a bit of a letdown at the back end of that, because that was a milestone that I needed to get through. I need to get through for me, but I need to get through it for all of the people in my support crew as well, because I wanted them to experience the week of the Masters. And then getting through that, I immediately knew that there was something not so flash with my back. It was pretty serious. And got an X-ray a couple of weeks after the Masters. Had a couple of weeks off, got an X-ray that confirmed a decent sized herniation, and tried to go about rehabbing that, and that was going backwards, and ultimately ended up having surgery. I think it was about 6 weeks after the Masters, and that's when I found out I had a fractured vertebrae. And so they didn't show up on the MRI. They ended up taking a fragment of a vertebrae out, and I recovered very quickly after that. But that was kind of the start of the dance that I did with my back, as far as surgeries and rehabs, and kind of occupied my next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so I see. I mean, you played the USPGA that year as well. Which that's reasonable recovery from back surgery to make it back.
Again, another really major championship. When I had the surgery, I was 13, 14 weeks out from the PGA, and at the time they said, you're going to be 3 months. I'm a surgeon in the States. You're going to be 3 months. So I always beat my rehabs and all the other injuries. I beat that, so I'm going to beat this. And so, as I said, I recovered well. Most probably recovered too well, and I went out to play a tour event the week before, at about 11 weeks, I think, post surgery, and got through that no problem, and then got to the PGA and made it through the week, through to the weekend, and re-herniated on the Saturday morning when I was warming up, and that kind of shut me down for the rest of the year, and the start of the following year, actually. Yeah, end up having.
When did you actually retire off the tour and come back to New Zealand?
Yeah. I never used the retire word.
I mean, I see in your Wikipedia page it says semi-retired.
Yeah, I just didn't know kind of what my future had. Really, I kind of walked away from playing competitively at the start of 2013, and it was at that time where my son was just about to start high school back here in New Zealand. I'd moved my family back to New Zealand because we wanted both kids to go to high school in New Zealand, be around family, and with that time off that I'd had with the injuries, I dabbled in a few other different things business-wise, and they were really interesting to me, and so I just had different different interests, and it was just at a different stage where I didn't really want to be away from home. I remember being in a kayak on Lake Taupo when my son was doing a triathlon, and I was out in the middle of the lake and trying to stay in it. As parents, we were supposed to be out there and keeping an eye on kids and making sure that they were safe. But no, who was keep making sure that the parents were safe? And so I was concentrating on just staying upright in this kayak, because that wouldn't be a good look, that someone would have to come out and rescue a person that was supposed to be out there for the kids' safety. And I was supposed to be at a tournament in the Midwest at the time, in the States. I was in a tournament over there and chose not to go back to play in it. And I can't remember getting out of the water and surviving, and tell my wife that, yeah, I think I'm where I'm supposed to be, and so just kind of quietly walked away from playing competitively. If I couldn't prepare how I wanted to try and play competitively, and my standard had dropped away most definitely. I wasn't playing as well as I wanted to, but if I couldn't prepare and get ready to play how I wanted to, then I'd quite happy just not play. And so I just kind of stepped away from playing and got into some of the other business things that that were occupying my time.
So 2014, you stepped back onto Paraparaumu Beach. I assume it was after a considerable hiatus. I was away on a family holiday at the time, but I organised the game for you. And I still hadn't met you at that stage, but I remember getting a text message, would have been following your game, where you were glowing about the place. You'd forgotten how good the course was, how much you'd missed it. And you made particular mention at that point of the shot values and how good the shot values were at Paraparaumu Beach. And I know you've morphed into design now. Perhaps you could maybe expand on that for our members.
Oh, really? You've saved this for now? Everyone's already tuned out, Leo, and now you want me to talk about Paraparaumu Beach? Oh, where do we start? Yeah, look, it was a beautiful summer's day that we played down there. I think it was late January
January. Yeah, about the third week in January, I think. Yeah.
And so, the sun was out and the turf was in great nick, and the golf course was dry and bouncy and fast. And I was playing with a couple of friends, and they, are not professional golfers by any stretch, but we just got to really enjoy the golf course. And look, links golf is best played when there's a wee breeze, and there was, look, I think if any of us had farted, that was most probably the only wind that we had to encounter for the day. It was just an absolutely beautiful day, and so it wasn't seeing Paraparaumu in all of its glory by any stretch, but it was an absolutely stunning day to take it all in. And look, you and your crew had already started, or been, you're midway through a big restoration project there of bringing the golf course back to its roots. And so I'd heard a little bit about that, and the social media wasn't a thing. It certainly wasn't for me. And so I'd heard a little bit about that, and wanted to kind of just come down and see how things had changed. And so, I really thoroughly enjoyed the day, Leo. The condition of the golf course I remember being fantastic, but that wasn't the thing that was most striking to me. I had stepped away from playing competition golf or tournament golf, and for the most part, the only times I'd played Paraparaumu Beach had been under tournament conditions. And so the rough was like this, and it was either in November or December, and so the wind was howling usually. And look, playing tournament golf is a totally different beast than playing the golf course how it's set up for members week in, week out. And so to play it on a beautiful day with some friends, I actually got to appreciate some of the golf holes when I didn't have to put a score on the scorecard. And of course we had we had a game and there was a beer on the line or something like that. So it wasn't like we were dropping balls all over the show and playing different shots. But the short holes have always been my favourite at Paraparaumu Beach. There's a couple of long holes there that are striking as well, and the 11th into a northerly is a beast, and 13 is long been held as the strongest or one of the strongest par fours, as is 17 into a southerly, right? But it's the shorter holes. It's the threes, all the threes. I know a lot of people. Is it Schoolyard? That's 14. What?
14. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people make special mention of that short hole as a par three, but 16 has always been my favourite three there. I know 5 is a brute and it's absolutely a beast. It's difficult. You can play ping pong there if things go awry. But 16's always been my favourite three there. But short holes like 6, like 8, and most definitely 10. All of those short 4s were fun holes where, because of the people I was playing with, you got to see what their capabilities were and the decisions that they were entertaining, because we weren't playing where you were battling the elements. It was every option for play was available to you because it was such a beautiful day. And then with being able to hit the ball a little bit further, the options and the decisions that I was considering. And so just being able to absorb all of that whilst we were playing and see the real value of the golf course was about as an enjoyable day as I could have expected to have. I can't remember what I shot. I really can't. And I can't remember. And it means absolutely nothing to me, actually, what I shot. It was more the enjoyment of being able to play the golf course, being able to play it with some friends, being able to feel like everyone could enjoy their day out because no task was unsurmountable. It was stimulating in a way that all of the shot values, as you mentioned, were available to all of us. Whether we pulled them off or whether we even attempted them was part of the experience. And I think the true genius of the way that the golf course was laid out, we got to experience some of that. I think I'd love to have gone back the next day and it been blowing 30 or 40 out of the south, and got to feel the bite a little bit. But it just brought back to me that for a golf course that's mostly, the overall, the quantum length of it has been passed by with the professional game, and how much the distance advancement has overtaken some of the shorter golf courses. To go back there and really take in some of those short holes and just the different angles of play, and when you're playing tournament golf back then, the Paraparaumu Beach was always set up with a lot of thick rough, and so you were either on the fairway or you weren't on the fairway, and when you weren't on the fairway, a lot of the holes became incredibly stifled as to what options you had available to you to continue to play the hole. And so with the rough being just a little bit down, if you got offline, then the flyer came into play, the turf was firm and fast, you got yourself into trouble up around the green. And it was just one of the more memorable days I've had on a links golf course. And so you heard about it. I can tell you.
Well, I mean, it's been nice to share, and I think our members particularly have been taking real pride of sharing their course with others. Post-COVID and the lockdown, obviously we were sharing it with the world. And I think we're really looking forward to sharing that domestically and for more people like yourself to come and play us and experience what you may have experienced that day. So I think that's one of the opportunities for us, certainly over the next 12 or 18 or 24 months, however long we take before we get back to normal, so to speak.
Yeah, look, I think you guys are ideally placed for that. You've got a strong brand in New Zealand. People know the quality of the golf course, and you're an authentic New Zealand golf course experience, albeit a little bit different. And there's not too many links golf courses around New Zealand playing around the coastline or in the coastal dune. But from it's when you hear people talk about the quality of Paraparaumu Beach being like the quality of the links of Britain. Unless you've gone over and played some of those golf courses, you maybe don't have a comparison. It's just a golf course with no trees on it versus the parkland golf courses that generally inhabit New Zealand. And so you maybe don't quite get to appreciate all the nuances of links golf and playing golf on the land as opposed to through the trees. And so I think that in itself is something that's quite unique. I think for New Zealanders, our borders are going to be closed for a little while, or it's going to be a little bit, an opportunity for us to stay at home. I think for members, there's going to be experiences that they're going to cherish a little bit more than maybe they had in the past, and that's catching up with their friends at their local golf club, where it's a lot more than just about playing the golf. And I've talked a lot about, and I really love the golf course and involved in golf course design and architecture, and enjoy that about the golf course. But I think for a number of golf courses in New Zealand, that social connection that they have, that hub that's being their workman's club, their where they catch up with their mates, they'll really cherish that and value that, and I guess there's an opportunity there for all golf clubs to play on that. Coming out the other side of this, we totally recognise that there are going to be some that have a tough time with that, and hopefully they get some support from the government to continue. But hopefully people get out and play some of the local golf courses around the country. Some of them are not quite as good as Paraparaumu Beach, but they realise that we've got some quality golf right here on our own doorstep, and you don't need to jump on a plane to go and experience some of it.
Yeah, well said, Phil. At the back end of 2014, I found myself working at the Barclays tournament, the second round of the FedEx, whatever it was.
Yeah.
We'd only had exchanged that text message at that stage, and surging forward to the 18th, I saw the ever smooth Phil Tataurangi inside the ropes with a microphone reporting for the Golf Channel or a channel over there, and I had that split decision: do I tap him on the shoulder and introduce Leo Barber from New Zealand, or do I let it slide and go, oh yeah, I remember seeing Phil, at the Barclays. So I quickly made the decision I was going to slip under the ropes, tap you on the shoulder, thrust out the hand, and introduce myself. And I remember you saying at that time you were very pleased that I did, and we had a little chat there beside the 18th green, and you'd said at that stage that you were mentoring, or you probably still do mentor a number of different people. And one of the advices that you were giving them was to throw a hand out, because you never know where that might lead to. And it's been an absolute privilege today to have thrown that hand out, and it's led to a phone interview and obviously a friendship of sorts since 2000. So Phil, I just want to say, hey, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate you giving up your time today.
Yeah, no worries, Leo. And look, I've enjoyed following your career after getting to know you a little bit better as well, because you and your brethren as turf maintenance guys and girls throughout the country most really don't get the kudos that they deserve, and you got a passion for it. Clearly you do, and I know everyone at the golf club realises that, and everyone on your teams throughout the years have felt that, and the golf course is reflective of that passion. But as we've gone through this and we've had to confront, how do our golf courses actually get prepared week in, week out, when members turn up on Saturday and want the greens running just how they want them to, and there to be no divots in the fairways, and the fairways to be tightly clipped, and everything just to be right for them because they turn up on Saturdays. I think going through this, Leo, hopefully members also get a new appreciation for the greenkeepers and for superintendents and for the maintenance staff at the golf courses. For everyone that's been hurting at home, not being able to play the game, I can assure you all the greenkeepers have been hurting too, that they haven't been able to get out on their patch, right? And so thank you to the government that they've allowed there to be not too big a break between being able for the greenies to be able to get back out and prepare golf courses. But hopefully those people that are listening to this, they take the time to go and have a yarn with their greenkeeper and all your staff there at Paraparaumu Beach. But if this gets shared to other golfers around the country, take the time next time you see a greenie at your course, go and extend the hand like you did, and thank them for the job they do, because in lots of respects it's thankless, but just about every case it's the passion that greenies have for their job that go into what surface people get to play on every weekend when they tear it up. And so to you and your staff there at Paraparaumu Beach, I hope everyone gets back on and the golf course is in good nick. It looks like it is from the photos that you've been posting, but thank you for you and what you do for golf in the country there. Really appreciate it.
Awesome, Phil. Kind words. Take care in your bubble, and I look forward to hopefully welcoming you back to Paraparaumu Beach when this is all through, and we can get out there and have that fun again that you were talking about back in 2014.
It'll happen, mate. It'll happen. Keep your phone on.
Good on you, Phil. Catch you later.